Hello, 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 and Bitcoin has done it yet again. Oh my word, I'm really starting to hate or maybe love, I don't know, that 0.3% number, and I'll show you why in just a bit. I'm just going to go straight to the charts right now, folks. For those of you joining, thank you so much for joining us here on this live stream by a Bit Learn. Now, don't forget, all right, you can stand a chance to win your share of 25,000 USDT. We have that set aside just for these daily live streams, and you can find us on YouTube and also on X. Although, do give a shout out to our friends on X because X is currently down. At least let me just check again real quick. Yeah, it looks like X is still down given the Cloudflare issues. But yeah, no worries. For those of you joining us on YouTube, thank you so much. So, don't forget, you can click on the link on the YouTube description to sign up and then get your chance at 25,000 USDT that we have set aside for these live streams. All right. Okay. Now let's get right to it. So those of you who are perhaps seeing this chart for the first time, don't worry. I'm going to walk you through it. Okay. So if you can check out the live streams that we had, we've done over a week's worth of these live streams now. You go back to November 6th, November 7th, right? Back around here. And we had highlighted the 21-day simple moving average. That is a baby blue line that we have here. We had highlighted that as a target. And sure enough, prices rose, got to within 0.3 or actually less than that, 0.2% of the target before coming all the way back down. Now, for those of you who then watched yesterday's live stream, right back when prices again was just hovering around the 95K mark, and don't believe me, check out that chart on the live stream from yesterday, right, on YouTube. And then yesterday we had highlighted that 89,000 level. Okay, and sure enough, today it got to again just about 0.3% before bouncing back up. All right. So you let me know in the comments whether you think that's a win or is it close enough or not good enough. Right. Let me know. Again, you can always find us on YouTube and also X. Thank you for those of us watching on YouTube. Even if you're not watching the live stream, I know that many more of you are watching this after the live stream. No worries, right? Just drop us a comment on the YouTube channel and we'll be more than glad to respond. Okay. So that is the YouTube chat. That is a Bitcoin chart that you're seeing on the screen right now. Remember, we had highlighted that death cross. Okay. So again, the death cross is when the 50-day simple moving average. This is a widely followed indicator, right, in the markets, and you can pull that up on any asset that you want. You just go on the Bybit web trading platform or the Bybit app, hover over indicators here in the top left-hand corner. You can see right here. Click on it, just type in moving average, right? Moving average. You got many different types of moving averages. I like to keep it simple, right? Stick with the easy ones. Just click on this, and then you can alter the settings, change it to a 50-period SMA. Okay, so that's this blue line here versus the 200-day simple moving average, SMA, simple moving average. Now, when the 50-day SMA crosses below the 200-day simple moving average, which is what happened yesterday during our live stream, right? That is often seen as a bearish signal. In other words, that just indicates or tells people who are trading, hey, prices are about to fall some more, right? And they're looking for clues, right? Everyone, be it traders or investors, they're kind of looking for signals everywhere in the world. So this is one of the most widely followed signals, and not just for Bitcoin. If you see that on stocks or any asset, really gold, it often suggests that prices are about to fall further. Sure enough, yesterday, death cross went down to 89K or just almost within 0.3%. And then now it's bouncing back up, now above 91,000, right? Now, of course, the obvious question is, well, what is next, right? Because just a quick recap, we highlighted the 89,000 level because of what happened in the past, right? Past price action. I'll zoom out here on the chart here real quick, and you can see I had circled here before. This was around earlier this year, right, where it acted as a resistance. Okay, and then late last year it was a support. Think of it as a floor, right? Where if prices come towards the support, it kind of bounces right off, okay? As opposed to a resistance, think of a ceiling, prices head towards it and then bounces back down, okay? So to use the examples more recently, you can say that 21-day simple moving average was the resistance, And then you've got that support around 89,000. Even yesterday during or over the weekend, really around the 95,000 level, you see prices kind of bounce off that 95,000 level, right? There's something else to look out for. Look out for those big round numbers. It's easier for us to talk about it. And markets also, it's easy for traders to fill in their orders with 89,000 as opposed to say, 89,293 or something like that, right? But, you do see this kind of support/resistance reaction in the markets, especially around big round numbers. And we'll show you more examples of this in just a bit, okay? But anyways, all that to say, if you're nothing else, just remember that, hey, we called it from yesterday. Check out yesterday's live stream on YouTube, and you can see where the charts were around 95,000 yesterday. After the live stream, boom, all the way down to 89,000 before bouncing back up, okay? So that's Bitcoin. Another one that is obviously very popular for you guys. And real quick reminder, right? If you want to pull up this chart, this is the Bitcoin chart on the daily time frame. Okay, so that means each of these blocks or candlesticks represents how Bitcoin's prices acted during that one day. Okay, and you can change the time frame to make it 1 week. This is what it looks like on the 1 week chart. This is the 1 day one. Sorry, I don't want to ruin my chart so much. And you can move it down all the way to like 1 minute or 5 minutes. Okay, so that each of those blocks or candlesticks, this is called a candlestick chart. Each of those candlesticks will then show you how Bitcoin's prices perform during that time period. 1 minute, 5 minutes, 15 minutes, 1 hour, 1 day, 1 week, whatever you choose. Okay. All right. So that's Bitcoin. We'll go over to gold here. This is another popular one. And for this one, I know it's a bit crunched up. So let me make this full screen so that you guys can see it. So once again, right, yet another example of how prices just tend to react the same around these big round numbers. So look at what happened today, right? Prices came all the way down to around that 4,000 level. In fact, if you hover your mouse or your cursor over that day's candlestick or that period's candlestick, you will see in the top left-hand corner, the low is 3998.06. Okay, on Bytebits platforms. That's the pricing for us. So close enough, 4,000, bounce back up. And that's exactly what happened. Okay, so yet another example of how big round numbers can influence markets or the prices behavior. Okay, but for now, it still remains intact, finding support at that 21-day simple moving average. We've been highlighting this for a while now, so that is still playing its role there, at least as support, additional support beyond 4,000. The forecasted trading range that we had mentioned yesterday, of course, still in play. This was meant to be a 1 week long trading range. So potentially as high as 4215 from yesterday's prices, all the way down to perhaps as low as 3953. But it would take something really crazy in the markets for gold prices to really break above 4215 or below 3953 between now and the rest of the week, right? And of course, over the course of this week, and we've been highlighting, right, we've got so many big events to look out for. We'll give you another run through in just a bit, just to keep you guys up to date, right? We know that, information is what you need to at least get a head start, allow you to make better informed decisions, right? So we're going to do just that here in just a bit, but that's a check-in on the gold prices. Again, once reacting to those big round numbers, 4,000, keep an eye on 39.53 to the downside, 42.15 to the upside. Okay. Any questions, feel free to post them in the chat, but real quick reminder, we do have this very special giveaway that we don't want you to miss out on. Hey, I've set aside this 25,000 USDT in potential rewards for you guys. And for those of you who are new, right, you can get a leg up, right? You just sign up. You can do that by scanning the QR code here on the screen, or if not, if you're on YouTube, you can click on the link in the description of the video. For those of you on X, once X comes back online, we have that same QR code just splattered across our X feed, or also you can click on some of the past live streams and you can find the link there as well. Okay, scan the QR code, and here's what happens when you do, right? You either click on the link or scan the QR code. It'll bring you to this site here. Oh, I've lost my screen yet again. Here we go. Let's try and do this. That's my really nice desktop. Okay, let's try this again. So once you scan the QR code, it'll land you on this page, really. So that's why we say, right, 25,000 USDT in rewards for these live streams to be given out, right? And then when you land on this page, you could potentially get your share of a further 5,000 USDT. That's a different price pool. Okay, so we have plenty of giveaways for you to take advantage of, and to do that, you gotta complete weekly tasks. Right? What are those weekly tasks, you ask? Well, I'm so glad you asked. Just got to scroll down and you see all these different tasks. Invite friends, try out our bot, or even just doing your KYC, right? Your know your client process, or what we call verify your identity. You do that and you get points. So many different tasks that you can take advantage of just by depositing, trying a spot trade from the various assets that we've highlighted here on the live stream, and so many more. Then you could be in the running for just a share of not just these 5,000 USDT, but also for these live streams, a further share of 25,000 USDT. And we have the leaderboards down here. You can check them out in the name of transparency. Of course, we're not going to reveal every single detail about our clients, but you can stack yourself up against these guys, right? Benchmark yourself against the leaderboard and see how you're faring. We've got 25 pages worth of folks here who have taken advantage of it. So yeah, first things first, scan the QR code, sign up, and you could potentially earn your share of these very juicy rewards. Now, of course, it's got to be clear. Number one, none of what we're sharing here is investment advice. Please do not misconstrue it as such. But then more importantly, I think, the very fact that you guys are joining us right now and you are watching, I think this is reward. The education should be reward enough in and of itself. But hey, with these prizes and these giveaways, we try and make it that little bit sweeter, right? So scan the QR code, tap on the link, do not miss out, okay? Now, also, I just want to show off something else that we have on the Learn site. Again, look at these URLs. They are learn.bybit.com. And the way you do that is, the way you get to it is if you go to, I'll just show you, bybit.com, just go to the main site, and you will find the Learn tab right across the top. Click on Bybit Learn. For those of you who are watching this on the app, on the Bybit app, it's one of the services. You just got to go to that site, that section of the app, click on services, and you'll find the Learn icon there, right? Click on Learn. You get to the learn.bybit.com site, click on blog, and we've got plenty of different articles and content for you to learn from as well. And now every day we publish something, right? So you can check out the 3 assets that we had highlighted for this week. But for today in particular, right, if you click on this article that we published this morning, check this out, right? So not only did we mention some of these other altcoins that are rising, you had Solana, Litecoin, Polkadot that are all rising, at least for today, right? I mean, showing a slight rebound on the daily candlestick, but let's be clear, it's still in that downtrend that we've seen over the past month and a half or so, right? But just to kind of jog your ideas, or just kind of give you some ideas on like, hey, there's so much more happening in the market. It's not just about Bitcoin going down, 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 right? We here at Bybit Learn, we're all about helping you spot all these different opportunities across the markets and, potentially help you take advantage of them, right? So do check out the daily bit or the blog on learn.bybit.com. We've got a whole bunch of stuff as well. For example, this token XO for a society spelled with an X. We have highlighted that as well. That's been rising over the past couple of days, right? What else is soaring? You got Johnson & Johnson. The stock has just hit a new record high yesterday, okay? Bet you didn't know that, right? You've got USJPY, which will show you in a bit. That's the dollar versus the Japanese yen, right? That has been rising as well. It actually hit its highest since early February, just earlier today, right? So there are many of these opportunities out there in the markets. We know it can be quite daunting for you to kind of look at it on your own. That's why you're here on this live stream. Thank you so much. And we're going to help you keep making more educated decisions, hopefully. Okay. Real quick, let's go to USD/JPY. Again, this is something that we had highlighted from last week, right? So remember, if you go back to the articles page real quick, so it's blog, daily bits. And then you see, this is the one we published on Friday. I already mentioned, hey, watch this USD/JPY pair, right? And I can't remember if I had the dollar yen pair. Well, I didn't have it back then. But anyways, I didn't have the chart published on that. But look, I already highlighted, right, from last Friday. So you missed out because today, remember this was, actually published yesterday. Sorry, my bad. But yeah, and then here we are. Today, it's just hit its highest level. You got to go all the way back to early February. So getting in close to that 156 level that we had highlighted in last Friday's live stream. Again, don't believe me, check it out. It's right there on YouTube. We are doing this in the name of transparency. Keep me accountable. Check all those levels. We had highlighted 156 from last Friday, getting closer now. All right, so it's broken above 155. It had 155 had acted as resistance really since November 12th, and then finally it broke through yesterday, and now holding above there right now. 155 for the first time since February, and then now pushing closer towards that 156 target. That's the range that we had highlighted for this week, 156 to the upside, 152 or 151.9 to the potential downside. Again, look at that 14-day simple moving average, another widely used technical indicator. Support, 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 support. Again, support, think of floor, prices gets to it and then bounces off, right? Got here, bounced off, got here, bounced off. Same thing here. And then this was November 14th on Friday. Same thing. Hit it, bounce right back up. Now above 155 for the first time in 7 months. Okay. All right. So keep an eye on that. Now, why are we keeping an eye on that? Let me give you a quick reminder here, folks. We've got so much to look out for this week. Let me try and bring up this list of key events that we had already shown since Friday, but I've just made an update here because of the breaking news that we had during yesterday's live stream. See, that's what you get if you don't tune in every day, right? We had breaking news that the US is about to release its jobs report that was from September, that was initially supposed to be published in early October, but it got delayed because of the US government shutdown. Now that the shutdown is over, right, they have said, okay, hey, we are ready to release it again. So look out for this on, I apologize. This was a typo. This is actually on November, I put in today's date. Let me just fix that real quick. It's November 20th. My apologies. Just fixed it. Let's try this again. So it's on Thursday, actually. Yep, there we go. So Thursday, look out for that jobs report. That's the only update I have to this list of events that we have for this week, right? Make sure you got to keep an eye on all these big events that can really move markets. I'll just go through them real quick, okay? Fed speakers, these are people at the head of the world's most important central bank, the Federal Reserve, or you can just call them the Fed for short. What the Fed does not do, what they say, what they don't say, and what markets think that the Fed will do or say, right? That can move markets, okay? And that's literally one of the reasons why stocks and gold and cryptos, Bitcoin, have been falling of late, right? Because markets now are less optimistic that the Fed will actually cut interest rates in December. So right now, latest numbers is that markets predict only a 44% chance that the Fed will lower US interest rates in December. They've got a big decisions coming up by December 10th, right? That 44% number is so far, it's less than half, right? Compared to markets expecting a month ago that, like the Fed will definitely cut interest rates in December. Right. So it's because of the adjustments of those expectations. To be clear, the Fed hasn't done anything yet, right? They're supposed to only meet in December. Well, they cut interest rates already in October, but markets are forward looking, right? Okay, they're always asking, what's next? What's next? What's next? Just like you're also asking, what's next for Bitcoin? What's next for gold? A big part of the what's next is what the Fed will do next. So that's why when there's a Fed speaker or there's US economic data coming out, markets will use that to try and interpret, okay, based on these jobs numbers or based on the inflation numbers, okay, what will the Fed do next? And because of that, prices move. Okay, so long story short, from 44% chance, way lower than 100% chance, that's why markets are tumbling, right? In general, Bitcoin, stocks, gold, they love the idea of interest rates coming down. Okay, I won't get into the full details because that would be like a whole Econs 101 lecture, but just as a reference point, gold, stocks, cryptos, generally, they love the idea of interest rates coming down. Okay, so keep that in mind. You got Fed speakers speaking all of this week. USD JPY, we already had a GDP numbers came out earlier this week, and then you've got jobs report on Thursday. Then on Friday, you've got inflation numbers coming out of Japan, very important for Japan in particular. Okay. We'll go back to the USD JPY chart in just a bit, but let me just finish this off. So FOMC minutes, all that is, it's backward looking minutes, like, meeting minutes from the Fed's meeting back in October. If you recall, markets, the Fed had cut interest rates back in October, right? So that's why markets were loving it in the lead up to that October decision. But then now December, it's a bit of a question mark. So we'll see what the Fed was actually discussing at the last meeting. Of course, this line was written there from Friday, that 50-50 chance, right? So again, it's updated now to what I just showed you, 40% chance. I mean, look at the date at the bottom. That's when you know that I created this slide back on November 14th, right? Last Friday. Okay. NVIDIA, that's a big one, right? For those of you who's asking about this, now look, we are going to cover NVIDIA in depth tomorrow, okay? Because it's all going to be about NVIDIA. This, after all, NVIDIA was the world's first company to ever be valued at $5 trillion, not billion, not million, $1 trillion, right? Now, of course, that stock has since fallen back down to about 4.5 trillion. And we can pull up the chart here in just a bit. But yeah, keep an eye on this, right? And the good thing about it is, even though their earnings are after US markets close, right here on Bybit, you can trade NVIDIA live even during the earnings announcement. All right. So for GMT time, that's about 9 p.m. GMT. Again, we give you all those solid details tomorrow. Just giving you some top line numbers. Markets predict a 6.4% move, either up or down, once the earnings is released. So for a $4.5 trillion company, 6%. That's a lot of money at stake here, okay? So big opportunity, don't miss out. Again, none of this is financial advice, okay? Real quick, I'm going back to the USD JPY chart, if I can just show it to you here, right? Yeah, here's something I wanted to highlight here. So again, just know that as this is rising, this means that this is a stronger dollar versus the Japanese yen. That's why the chart is going up. If the chart is going down, like say, like back here, right? This was a period when the Japanese yen was getting stronger than the US dollar. Okay, so just know that. But right now, you've got a case of the yen weakening. Having said that, right, again, with the yen weakening above 155 against the dollar, that means you need 155 yen to buy $1 US, right? So it's weak. Right. This is something that the government doesn't really like. Okay. So if there's a chance for it to go up to 156, I think this is something that markets will really be on the watch out for what's called intervention risk. In other words, the government will literally step in, right, and buy up yen to keep it from weakening too much further. Right? Because if the yen just weakens too much too fast, it's hard for Japanese exporters to do business, right? Because there's so much volatility in the markets, and of course, it can also lead to inflation because Japan imports a lot of stuff. So when the currency is weak, they need so much more money to bring in the usual stuff, from food to groceries and what have you, oil, right? So keep an eye for this. In other words, the journey from 155 to 156, if it does happen, I think the longer it goes on for and the closer it gets to 156, I wouldn't be surprised if it forces the Japanese government to then come in and intervene, strengthen the yen, and then it makes a quick move just to the downside. Okay, so be aware of that risk. You heard it here first. If you haven't heard it already, we are here at Bybit Learn. We're going to make sure that you stay informed across many asset classes. Okay, so that's dollar yen. What else can we show you? Well, any questions here? Okay, so we got a question here. How to trade during announcing? Excellent question. Well done. All right, so check this out. I'm going to pull it up on. Okay, so I've just tried that. This shows the Google chart. Don't worry. So in case you didn't know, we here at Bybit, we have just launched a TradFi product. So offering stuff beyond crypto. Okay, you can look at gold, you can look at stock indices, you can look at oil, individual stocks, so many, right? So here's how you get to it. So you hover your cursor over the top left hand corner. For those of you using the the web trading platform, of course, on the app you can just click on markets and then just search for whatever you're looking for, or you can just kind of browse around. But as you browse around, look for the TradFi tab. Okay, you got spot, which is all the cryptos, right, and so many different products. But for this one in particular, look for TradFi, okay, which is short for traditional finance. Let me just remove this thing on the screen so you can see better. Okay, so hover, right, look for TradFi, click on it, right, and you can click on stocks, then you can select what you want. Okay, that's one way. Or the easiest way is, of course, just go in there, just type NVIDIA. There you have it, right? Can you see it? NVIDIA. So now, whether or not, to answer your question here, Miss Yang, or Yang. So the way you do it, right? Because we do not offer round-the-clock trading for all stocks. Now, the way you figure it out is once you get to the stock, click on info. Okay. Once you get to info, you can see here, right, the timings, and I believe this should be to your local timings, right, about when you can actually trade that stock. Okay. Now, so you can see here, like, aside from 11:59 to midnight, you got a 1 minute break of sorts, and then same thing, a 2-minute break from 1:59 a.m. to 2:01. Check the timings on your own platform according to your time zone. But aside from those little 1-2 minute windows, right, you can basically trade it around the clock. Okay, right? Now, if you want to know precisely when, well, the companies don't really tell you exactly like on the dot when it'll actually come out, but it gives you an idea, right? So if you know that US markets close at, say, for me here in Dubai, 1 a.m. Dubai time, so then that's when markets get ready, because it can drop anytime after markets close, right? If you really want to, like, say, for example, if you want to go, you can just look for the investor relations websites. Okay, just type in the name of a stock, Apple investor relations, whatever. For in this case, NVIDIA investor relations. Then you go into the website. So there will usually be an announcement about, okay, well, hey, we're going to announce, there we go. We'll actually, hopefully NVIDIA's website is not affected by the Cloudflare outage today as well. I hope the people on X are joining us now. But anyways, for those of us on YouTube, right, yeah, you can check out all those details, and they will have the announcement as to when they will actually announce the earnings. So see, in this case, right, November 19th, that's tomorrow, right? You click on it, and then you can, this is usually listed in, this is US time, right? So you basically do the math, or just ask ChatGPT what time it is in your local area, and then you can get an idea. Okay, this is for the call, right? But they will release the results right before. So all that to say, as soon as markets close, US markets close, whatever time you're in, right, then get ready. Okay, obviously, if you want to get in early to try and catch that 6.4% move either up or down, right, then you got to set in your orders beforehand. Okay, and then the orders, same thing. Well, sorry, I'm not using my real account here, but yeah, you can buy, buy it beforehand, or even today. Again, this is not financial advice, but all I'm showing you is that you can trade NVIDIA around the clock here on Bybit. Okay, cool. Just search for NVIDIA, click on info for more info, and then you get the works. Okay, so NVIDIA right now, getting lower, but then I think, like we saw, Google is actually rising right now. For Google, you have to type in Alphabet. You can find, let's try that again. Alphabet. Yeah, and this is what they call the ticker. Okay, it's the short form for that asset, right? Because of Alphabet, we know that it's a company name, the group name, but they were listed way back in the day as Google, right? So hence GOG. But yeah, Google is rising slightly right now. I believe Apple is rising as well. So yeah, there are many opportunities across the markets. Go check it out. Earlier we highlighted Johnson & Johnson. Let's see if that's rising as well. Yeah, so Google coming up slightly here, but facing potential resistance at this line. That's a 9-day moving average. Johnson & Johnson right now, Yeah. Well, markets haven't opened yet. That's why. Okay, now here's an example, right? So a couple of things I'm gonna highlight. Johnson Johnson hit a record high, got close to that again, big round number, $200, came back down slightly. Okay, looking at pre-market, I'll check on my Bloomberg terminal, which I'm not allowed to show you because of copyright issues. Well, as of pre-market, when I checked today, it was rising slightly, but still shy of that $200 level. Let's see what the latest pre-market was. Although markets should be open anytime now. Yeah, it got to about $200. Let's see if we can do some live numbers here. Johnson Johnson, it should be coming up any moment now because strictly speaking, US markets have opened. Okay, we'll check that back in a bit. Apple is already moving, rising right here, because Apple, you can again trade it round the clock. You can see those times. But then for Johnson Johnson, unfortunately, this one we don't have round the clock. See, so when you click on info for Johnson Johnson, you see it does follow regular US market timing. So I'm about 1 minute early. We start printing prices at, you see, 18:31. That's Dubai time. So it's now just a few seconds away. We'll keep monitoring this chart to see if it posts yet another record high. Okay, maybe a few seconds is an eternity. So we'll see if it actually starts printing prices. Oh, there we go. Okay, down slightly, right? So again, that psychological level, $200. Markets are saying, yeah, $200 is maybe too much, too fast for now, right? So let's kind of take profits a little bit, just selling just a teeny tiny bit. Okay, yet another example of big round psychological, big round numbers having an impact on the psyche of traders and investors. All right. So if you have got any other questions or any other charts that you guys want to see, even if you're not viewing this on the live stream, feel free to drop them in the comments and we'll get to it in tomorrow's live stream. But of course, again, recap, tomorrow, the live stream will be all about the preview to NVIDIA's earnings. So don't miss out on that. Another reminder, right? On Thursday, because of the US jobs data that everyone has been waiting for, even the Fed themselves have been waiting for that report as well, because I had mentioned before, markets have been flying blind. We are kind of guessing what the Fed will do, but we know that the Fed is bound to react to some kind of data. So finally, we're getting some official data coming out again after the longest US government shutdown in history. So everyone is going to be waiting for that. So because of that, we are actually going to bring forward Thursday's live stream to an hour earlier. So if you're wanting to catch it, right, make sure that you tune in at 1 p.m. GMT because the data will be released at, actually, let me write it out, okay? I can't edit it here, but the data will be released at 1:30 p.m. GMT. Okay, so we're going to start the live stream half an hour before 1 p.m. GMT, or for those of you who have been tuning in, we are going to start the live stream 1 hour earlier than normal. Okay, long story short, 1 p.m. GMT for Thursday, November 20th. Mark your calendars. So plenty to look forward to tomorrow. NVIDIA. Thursday, US jobs report, and of course, plenty of volatility in the meantime. Okay, so yeah, before we wrap things up, just a quick check-in on all the charts that you know and love. Okay, so yeah, Bitcoin, how about that, right? Actually bouncing off. Earlier we saw it was a red chart. Now it's well, what do you call a graveyard doji? But anyways, you can Google to find out what it means. But maybe markets are thinking 89,000 is too much, right? Because recall, we had highlighted this not because of the past price action, because this was a potential pain point for many people who had invested billions of dollars into Bitcoin ETFs, exchange traded funds, right? So they're waking up this morning thinking, okay, look, my profits maybe have gone down to like basically zero, or in fact, perhaps many of them might be in the red, but 89,000 was the average buy-in price for all those who had invested in Bitcoin ETFs, which were just first launched in 2024. Right. So they are going to want to either try to defend it, which looks like it right now. They are defending it, say, okay, look, I'm going to pump in more money, like to try and at least protect my profits. Right. Or maybe now's a good time to buy in their eyes, pushing prices up. Right. So, this was something that we had highlighted from yesterday's live stream. Right. Don't miss out. Don't miss out. So Bitcoin, okay, well, still hovering around 92K right now. Well, and we'll see how long it lasts, right? I personally, I want to see, how it reacts around this 89K level, right? I'll give it a day. Then before leading into the Thursday jobs report, that's where, I'll probably give a new setup. But of course, the US jobs report, that is so hard to predict, especially with the US government shutdown. We'll kind of see how markets will react, but we will show the live reaction for Bitcoin, for gold, stock indices all across during those that big data release. You have gold right now, you're bouncing off right nicely above 4,000. I'll make this big screen again. Right now, actually in the green, finding support at that 21-day simple moving average. One last check on, say, the S&P 500, right? So S&P 500 still down, finding support. Well, yeah, some support here, but not much, right? Of course, this one, look at NVIDIA. NVIDIA is so big, right, that it's bound to affect these stock indices like the S&P 500 and the NASDAQ 100. When I say an index or indices, just know that an index is a way to measure something. For a stock index, it measures a group or basket of stocks. Okay, so S&P 500 measures basically the 500 leading names in various industries. You've got the Apples, the Amazons, the Disneys, the what have you. All these big names that you know and love, they're all in that basket. And this one index, S&P 500, tracks 500 of those industry leaders. Okay, NASDAQ 100 stocks in that basket or in that index. That's mainly the tech-heavy guys. NVIDIA is basically in both of them, and because it's so big, you have to have them in your index, right? These indices help you answer the question, well, how are US stock markets doing? Are they up or down? Look at the S&P 500. Okay, cool. Plenty to look out for. Markets are clearly opening right now. Still, maybe finding their feet after what has been a bruising 6 weeks. Maybe I'll just end with showing you guys this. You can find this on the Bybit website, right? Click on markets and you see this market sentiment. Again, at least for the crypto space, they're in extreme fear right now. But hey, because you are here, you're joining us, you know that there's plenty of other stuff that's rising and there's many opportunities across the market. So feel free to reach out if you've got any thoughts, comments, or concerns or feedback. All right, cool. We leave it at that. Thank you so much. Tomorrow, 2 p.m. GMT, same time, same place. Well, hopefully X is back up by then. If not, you can find us here on YouTube. Again, look for the Bybit Learn official channel, and I will